Okay, now what we're going to show you now is how to go about planting your hedge. What we've got is we've got a entrance to a front doorway where we're going to plant a hedge. Originally there was some architectural type plants, and changing with themes and the seasons, we're going to go with a low hedge. We've chose one of the plants that we spoke about earlier, the Acmina Allen's Magic, an Australian native lily pilly, very tough and very suitable to the conditions that we have here. Acmina Allen's Magic, a great alternative and a new alternative to the Japanese box that we referred to earlier. It grows 50 centimetres by 50 centimetres. So like I said earlier, we've assessed the site, we've decided on the height of the plant and the width, and it suits the area that we're going to plant out here. The conditions, okay, we've got the great full sun here, which is perfect for these lily pillies. It will help bring out the bright red foliage that we get in this on the new growth. We haven't opted for a flowering hedge, and last of all we've looked at budget. Now we've got a 2 metre length here that we want to plant. We're looking at a fairly quick established hedge to go with the established yard. So for 2 metres we've chosen 5 plants with spacings of 40 centimetres each. We should have a hedge in a fairly reasonable time. Now just a couple of things that we need to consider when planting a hedge. There's some tools that we need. So we've got our plants. You know, your trusty old spade to get the soil prepared and dig the holes. A tape measure is very important. We've got to get the lengths correct and our planting spacing spot on so that we can get a uniform growth of this hedge. We've got a string line. Now for a 2 metre hedge you can use a string line. If you've got a good trusty old eye, rely on your eye and look at it from different angles, and we'll go through that shortly. We've got some of these Acrocraft tools here. We've picked these up at the local flower power store where we've just been. They're also available on the Gardening Central website, and we're going to use these at the end just to give some shape to our hedge and start to get some form into looking like the hedge that we're trying to get at the end result. Okay, let's start planning out our space here. You can see I've already gone through and prepped the soil, and just I think we've spoken about this before. The soil is extremely important, that you've got a good quality soil. If you don't have a good quality soil, speak to your garden centre, get some recommendations on some soil mixes, and make sure you use a soil mix, not a potting mix. We spoke about that once before. Soil mixes for garden, potting mixes for pots. This soil here, very well drained soil, smells great, full of nutrients. The plants that have been in here before have been growing at a good pace, which gives you a good indication that the soil's good for it. So what we've gone through is we've graded the soil, we've moved the soil out, and we've got it prepared so that we can go and plant away our hedge. Okay, just get our tape measure out again. Like I said, we've got 2 metre bed here. So I'm just going to bring the tape measure to 2 metres, and I'm going to leave it there whilst I'm planting out the plants. First thing to do is grab your plants and just put them at the spacing along. Now, just one thing I'll mention, we've got 2 metres of hedge to do here, and we've got 5 plants, so just simple mathematics, 2 metres, 5 plants, we're going to plant them at 40 centimetres apart. So using the tape measure, we'll put them down at the 40 centimetre interval. Okay, now that we've got the plants at those intervals, we're going to start planting out the plants. So I'm going to knock them out of the pot. Got a nice healthy plant here, good fibrous root system, lots of white root hairs there. You can tease the roots up slightly and just plant them in. Once again, referring to the tape measure so that we get it right. And we'll just repeat this for these 5 plants. Okay, you can see just by eye of sight, I've just put these in. They're in a nice straight line. I've checked down to see that they're all running in a line, which is important, especially with an entrance. As you come in to the yard, people are going to look at the hedge and notice that it's out of line, so it's in line there. In regards to the height, we've got a uniform height there, but we're going to trim that up shortly after we've planted them out. So if there is any that are shooting up like we see here, we'll trim those up when we start to form some shape. So what we'll do now is we'll go and we'll firm them in and get them going. Okay, just firming the plants in, just gently. The soil will start to settle around the plants after we water it in and over the next couple of days. But just put a little bit of effort in and just firm the plants in there to make it nice and stable and go on to the next one. All right, I think that's about right now. I've gone and firmed in all the plants and just rake the soil with our hands to make it nice and even. You'll notice here that we've got our irrigation, and like I said, this was an established bed with plants in here before, so we've got our irrigation. We've kept it out of the hole when we've buried the plants, which is important to do because this is going to be drip irrigation, and we're going to have one dripper going from every plant so that they're all going to get good even watering, which is extremely important when it comes to a hedge, that you get that uniform growth. Okay, just a couple of little things that we want to finish with now. Lastly, we're going to give our plants a good water here, and it's a good way to get them established. Just with a nice gentle water around the base of the plants, just making sure that we get a nice deep water into the roots that they start to take up, because there has been some shock to the root system in the initial planting. So we're just going to go through and water around the base of each of the plants, just with a gentle water. Moving on to the next plants. This will now start to settle the soil like I explained earlier. We've pushed it down and compacted it slightly with our hands, but now this water getting in will start to get between the particles and start to compact the plants. Okay, we're going to take our trusty Aquacraft shears here and our pocket secateurs, and we're going to start to put a bit of shape in it. And we're not going to be too aggressive, we're just going to lightly trim any of the uneven branches and start to get that shape that we want. We've got them nicely here in a nice straight row. We've got good consistent height along the top of the hedge here, and we're just going to start to take the little shoots that are a bit uneven and start to get this form of a hedge shape, so that from day one it starts to look like a hedge. So firstly we'll use our shears. Just lightly, you see I'm not doing anything too aggressive, I'm just starting to give it a bit of a shape, and just like I said, you can use a string line for this, but I'm using my sight here, and we're just making an imaginary line across the top of the hedge and taking off the tips that are too big. So going into the next one, starting to get that hedge shape across the top. Continuing on for all the plants. Okay, now that we've done the top of the hedge, we're going to do along the sides, just using our shears. And anything that protrudes outside the line, we're just going to take the tops off it. And hopefully what you can see now is we're starting to get a bit of shape to it, starting to take a bit of that shape towards a hedge. It's got the nice uniform top and sides. Use our pocket secateurs just to take off any of these little ones that you see that the shears don't get. And there we have it, a bit of alternative to your Buxus or your Gardenia that we used earlier, Australian native, Acmina, Smithii, Allen's Magic. 6 months time I think that we're definitely going to have a nice joined up hedge. You're looking at probably about 40-50 centimetres high, 50 centimetres wide, and definitely will accentuate the entrance to this house with these nice red tips that it gets on the new growth. Have fun.